Welcome, everybody. This is the DVMUG Zoom meeting. It's Tuesday, July 14th, 2026. I got a couple pieces of news for you about the beta, and we have some videos and then Q&A as usual and social hour. So we'll move straight to the news. Move forward. So yesterday, the public beta was released. That means anybody can go download it and try it. Load it for macOS, iOS, iPadOS. Not sure about the watch, but I loaded it on the iPad, but not the Mac yet. So here's 3 good articles. If you're interested in doing this, this is a really long article by Jason Snell, his review of the public beta, pros and cons and what you expect. So if you're interested, I suggest you read this. The link is there in the PDF in the chat. Okay. Also from Six Colors, his cohort, not him, but his partner, wrote the same extensive article about the iOS iPhone public beta. Very good. Lots of screenshots, pros and cons, whatever. So if you're interested, you should go read that. And if you're interested in doing the phone, you should definitely read this first from Macworld. Whoops. Read this about what you should do before you install it on your iOS device.
Can you give us a hint?
Yes, I'm going to tell you what it says and what I did, which was what I was going to do anyway. With iOS, iPhone, iPads, you should back it up to your computer first. Don't rely on the iCloud backup because you want to be able to revert to a previous version of the OS if you don't like it or it goes haywire. So you back it up to your computer. In this article, there's screenshots and directions on how to do that. So that means if it goes bad and you don't like it, you can reset your phone or iPad back to factory defaults like a new from the store, and then restore it from the backup on your computer, and you'll be back where you started from. That's the way to do it. So that's a good article. I couldn't find one about that on the Mac, but it's essentially the same. You want to do a clone is the best way. What I was trying to do, I never got to it this morning. Use Super Duper or Carbon Copy Cloner and clone it to another drive in case you want to go back. You can clone it backwards over the top. Or install it on another bootable SSD drive. Don't install it on a spinning hard drive. I tried that this morning, and Tahoe doesn't work on a spinning drive. It's too slow. You got to do it on SSD. So you can have the choice of booting in either one, and you won't get messed up. Now, Rick, when you do the beta, do you back it up or you just go for it? Rickster, are you muted? Unmute yourself.
Yeah, I've been pretty brave and haven't been doing that. I just go for it. But I think with that, I'll probably back it up to the computer.
Jerry, what do? You back up first in the beta in case it goes bad?
I think
You're
he's in
muted.
Massachusetts.
No, he's muted.
No, I don't.
Oh,
You go
No,
for
I
it
don't
also.
bother to back up. They've all been very stable.
You live on the bleeding edge.
and
All
you're
right.
using 27 now anyway, aren't you, Jer?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to back it up.
Developer beta with no backups.
So,
You're
That's
brave
right.
as I am.
In
John?
fact, I'll do it right now while we wait.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
This only applies to the beta, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, when the final comes out and you think you want to back it up first in case you don't like it or there's a problem with the software you have installed, it might not be a bad app. On the iPhone, iPad, it doesn't matter. You get your apps from Apple. You update all your apps from the App Store before you install a major update like that. So you're all up to date and it should be fine. The Mac, you have stuff not from the App Store. Third-party stuff, maybe you haven't updated, you don't pay attention, you should run Mac, some kind of updater, Mac updater. There's not a lot of good update trusty software, but make sure all your third-party apps are up to date and do check for software updates so that's all up current. And then you go for it. All right, that's all I got for news. Any other questions about that? We'll move on to videos. Okay, we're gonna go for it. These are our videos we have. We have a couple long ones from Gary. And actually the first three might be from Gary. Then a couple of those shorties. Okay, let's go. Let's go for the first one. 3 ways to keep your iCloud files and photos local on your computer.
Hi, this is Gary with MacMost.com. Let me show you how you can keep some or all of your files and photos local when using iCloud. I'm often asked, how do you keep files local when using iCloud? I addressed this in many videos, but I thought I'd make a video specifically about this question. So the idea is you're using iCloud Drive and iCloud Photos. This often means that while they appear here in the Finder locally, that you actually need to download them to open them. You don't have to do anything for this. Just double clicking the file to open it will download the file automatically. For instance, look at these folders here. You can see the symbol here to the right indicating that some or all of the content in the folders isn't available locally. It's on Apple servers in iCloud Drive, and you can access it as long as you have an internet connection. For instance, if I look in this folder here and I decide I want to access this file, notice it has that symbol there. So even though the file appears here in my file list, it will need to be downloaded when I open the file. Now if you have a moderately good internet connection, just double clicking on this will download the file. You could see it doing it there really briefly, and then it opens up. So it acts just like it's local. But what happens if you're not online and you want to open one of these files here? Well, it can't open the file because the data isn't there. It's online and you need an internet connection when you open that file. So the question is, how can you make sure you have access to that file and other files when working on your Mac and you don't have an internet connection? Well, there are 3 primary ways to do this. The first is a simple setting. You go into System Settings and then you go to your account here and then to iCloud. Or you could have just looked for iCloud here in the left and selected it there. Then you'll see Drive right here. Go into that and you have the setting Optimize Mac Storage. With this turned on, it behaves exactly this way. It's saving space on your local drive by only having the most recently accessed iCloud files available to you at any moment. Anything else needs to be downloaded when you open the file. But if you simply turn this off, then all of your files will become available locally. In other words, iCloud Drive still works the same, but all files are cached locally so you have access to them when you're offline. So say you're completely offline and you want to access one of your files, they'd all be there. You can open them up and work with them. When you make changes, those changes will be saved locally, and then the next time you connect to the internet they would be synced to iCloud, and then the updated versions would be available on your other devices like your iPhone, your iPad, or perhaps a second Mac. Now there's a catch. You have to have enough space on your local drive, the drive on your Mac, in order for this to work. If you have, say, 700 gigs of files in iCloud Drive and you only have a 500 gig local drive on your Mac, there's no way to fit 700 gigs on a 500 gig drive. So in that case you have to have Optimize Mac Storage turned on. But I think a lot of people are in the situation where they have plenty of space locally. If you're not a content creator, if you're not creating videos or music or doing graphics work or development work, then you may not have that many files. A lot of people are in that situation, and having Optimize Mac Storage turned on really doesn't do anything for you, as you have plenty of room locally. Now in addition to files, Photos is another place which has this optimize setting. So you go into the Photos app, and if you're using iCloud Photos and you go to Photo Settings, under iCloud here you've got the choice as to whether to optimize Mac storage or download originals to this Mac. It works exactly the same way as the iCloud Drive setting. So with download originals, you have all of your photos always local all the time, as well as on the iCloud servers. If you turn on optimize Mac storage, only your most recently accessed photos will be fully available locally, although you'll see thumbnails of all of your photos just like you see file names and icons of the files in the iCloud Drive. With optimize Mac storage turned on, you can view any photo as long as you have an internet connection. It will just quickly and in the background download the full photo when you go to view it. But if you've got enough space on your local drive, you could have download originals to this Mac turned on, and then all of your photos will always be cached locally and available to view the full versions while offline as well as online. Okay, so that option will work for a lot of people. But if you do have more files and photos in iCloud than you have space for on your Mac, then there's another option that involves selecting the exact files and folders that you want always to be available locally. So this only works for files, not photos. But you can go in the Finder here and decide that you want to have a specific file always available locally. Like maybe this file here. You're working on it all the time, but sometimes you take breaks and you just want to make sure that you always have this file available. If you Control click it, right click or two finger click on this file to bring up the context menu, you'll notice that one of the options here is Keep Downloaded. If you select this, now this file gets marked as a file that will always be local. It's like turning off Optimize Mac storage for just this file. You can bring up the context menu again and uncheck this option if you're done working with the file, for instance. You can also do it for an entire folder. So you can bring up the context menu for the folder and select the entire folder as Keep Downloaded. Now obviously if you do this for a lot of folders and you just don't have enough space to store them all, you're going to run into problems and get warning messages. But if you just do it for select folders that you know are important, or projects that you're currently working on, or maybe projects you haven't worked on in a while but think you may need to work on soon when you're offline, then it guarantees that those files will be available locally. If you find these videos valuable, consider joining the more than 3,000 others that support MacMost through Patreon. You get exclusive content, course discounts, and more. You can read about it at macmost.com/Patreon. Note that you'll only see Keep Downloaded if the file or folder is in iCloud Drive. It obviously won't appear for files that are in your home folder, say, and not stored in iCloud Drive. Now there's a third option for a specific situation. This is when you want to take a file out of iCloud Drive, not have it stored on the iCloud Drive servers at all, but instead have it stored locally. So in other words, just like it would have been if you weren't using iCloud Drive. You can easily do that, but a lot of people don't realize it. So here I've got my Documents folder. That's in iCloud Drive. If I Command click here, you could see that its root is iCloud Drive. If I go to iCloud Drive, I could see all of the folders that are in iCloud Drive. But that's not all of my folders. If I go to my Home folder here, I could see I've got folders like movies, music, pictures, and other things. These folders, they're not in iCloud Drive. They're just local folders. And you could store things in here and create your own. So for instance, I've created a folder here called Local Stuff. You may want to create one called, say, Local Documents. And then you could store whatever you want in here. These will be completely outside of iCloud Drive. So they wouldn't be available on, say, your iPhone or your iPad or a second Mac. They would only be local to this Mac. So this is useful if you have a lot of large files that you're working on just that Mac. Like for instance for a content creator like me working with huge video files but just on my desktop Mac, I can store them in my Home folder instead of iCloud Drive. I save the space on my iCloud Drive account and I don't mind because I only need those files on that one Mac. This is useful when you have the opposite problem to what I described earlier. When you have a lot of storage on your Mac and less storage in iCloud Drive. So you want to store some of your files local only and only have certain files in iCloud Drive. Just create a local documents folder or something like that in your Home folder and use that to store your local only files. And then use iCloud Drive to store everything else. There's a similar option to that for photos. In Photos, under Settings, you can go to General here and you can turn off copy items to the Photos library. Then you could store photos, say, in your home folder, maybe in the Pictures folder or another folder you create there. Then when you import files while this checkbox is off, those files will be linked. They won't be imported into your library and won't be part of iCloud Photos. Just remember to turn the checkbox back on for normal use for photos that should go into iCloud Photos. And also keep in mind, for photos not imported into the Photos library, you need to keep those photos around. You can't delete those files once you've imported them because you really haven't imported them. You're just linking to them inside of the Photos library. Another technique is to have multiple Photos libraries. One that is for iCloud, that's your main one, and then you can have other libraries that are for local only storage. But I don't recommend that because that means that searching for photos and compiling things like albums becomes pretty much impossible once you start dividing up your photo collection between multiple libraries. That's how you can make sure that your data is local when using iCloud. Hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. Want to know about every new MacMost video each week? Sign up for the absolutely free MacMost.
Okay. Comments, questions about that? If you lose iCloud Drive to put your stuff, you need to pay attention to this, what it's doing. Especially if you sync to other devices, you want to make sure that you're getting to the other devices and stuff. Okay, no questions. We'll move on to the next one. Okay, well, why you have duplicate contacts on your Mac? Okay, you also may have duplicate contacts on your iPhone also on syncing, but I think he's specifically addressing the Mac. So we'll go forward here.
Hi, this is Gary with MacMost.com. Do you see duplicate contacts on your Mac in the Contacts app and can't explain it? Or perhaps you see contacts there that you don't see on another device like an iPhone? Well, let me show you why this is going on. So this is a common question I get. You've got contacts in your Contacts app, but sometimes they're duplicates there. And you can't really explain why you didn't add the same contact more than once. Or maybe if you look on another device, like say your iPhone, you notice you're missing some contacts that you see on your Mac. Well, the reason for these problems is you've got multiple accounts. You see, the Contacts app mainly just looks at cloud accounts to show you the contacts there. For instance, it may show you your iCloud contacts, but it may also show you contacts from another account like Google or Yahoo. So for instance, here I am in the Contacts app, and you could see here I've got 2 contacts with the same name here. And for this one, I've got 3 contacts. So what's going on here? Well, you can't tell from this view, but this contact is in my iCloud account, and this contact is in my Google account. In fact, if you click on this button here to reveal the left sidebar, or go to View, Show Lists, you're going to get the sidebar here that shows you each of your accounts. In this case, I've got iCloud here, and I've also got Gmail. I've also got a section called On My Mac, which is for contacts that aren't in any account. They're just stored locally on my Mac. And you'll also see some other sections here as well. But the ones we're interested in right now are the ones for cloud accounts. So iCloud and Gmail. Now, if I look under All iCloud, notice I only see this person once. It just has this one contact that has her picture. And I also see this contact once. If I go to Gmail here and look at all my Gmail, you can see I've just got a few contacts here. Here's a different contact for that same person and a different contact for this person as well. So these contacts, they're all stored in my Google or Gmail account. And these contacts are all stored in my iCloud account. But when I look at all contacts, it merges those together. So I see 2 of these and 3 of these because I've got a third one that's just stored locally on my Mac. In addition, if you look at the Gmail account here, you'll notice that there's this contact. This contact is here in my Gmail account. But if you look at my iCloud account here, you'll see it's not listed there. It's only in my Google account. So this explains why you may not see some of these contacts, say if you look on your iPhone or iPad. Because if on your iPhone or iPad you are only using your iCloud account, then you're not going to see the contacts that you have that are only in another account, like a Google account, or are only on your Mac locally, not in any account. You'll just see exactly this list here if you only have that one account on your iPhone or iPad. Now you can add other accounts on your iPhone and iPad just like you can on your Mac. So you may see the same thing. But a very common problem people have is they've only set up their iCloud account, say on their iPhone, but on their Macs they may have these older accounts that they connected years ago and they're simply not on their newer devices. Now another way that this happens commonly is you simply go to add a new account and you don't realize you're adding a contacts account as well as say an email account. For instance, maybe you're in the Mail app here and you go to Mail and then Accounts because you want to add a new account like a Google account. You go and you add an account, and when you do and you get to the end screen for adding it, you're going to see all of these switches here for different aspects of that cloud account. So you may want to have Mail checked, but you may have left contacts turned on. And then perhaps back years ago, you added a few contacts to this Google account. By having this switch on, that means that those entries will be shown in contacts. But you could simply turn this switch off here. So this disables the Google account in contacts. If I switch back to the contacts app here, I'll no longer see it here on the left. And if I refresh this list, the easiest way to do that is just quitting contacts and restarting it. You'll notice now I'm missing that second contact here. And you can see one of the three contacts here from this group, that's gone too because the Google account is no longer linked. If I go back in and turn this account back on, it's going to add it back here. And again, it's best to quit and restart contacts so that it refreshes this list. And now again, I see the two contacts here and the three contacts here. If you find these videos valuable, consider joining the more than 3,000 others that support MacMost through Patreon. You get exclusive content, course discounts, and more. You can read about it at macmost.com/Patreon. Now, one way to handle this, if you want to keep all these accounts here, but when you look at all contacts, you only want to see each name once, is to link contacts. So let's take a look here at this entry. We could see the phone number here ends in 1212. There's an email address, a homepage, and a birthday. In this one, which is in the Google account, there's also a different phone number, a 2424 number here, and another email address. If I were to select both of these and then go to Card, Link Selected Cards, it will link the two of them. Each one is still going to have its own entry in either account, and they'll show up whether you're looking at all contacts, all iCloud, or all Gmail. But it's going to show up as one single card now. And notice that both the phone numbers are included, both the email addresses are included here as well. And I had to quit and restart contacts, but now I can see information like homepage and birthday. That's all listed here as well. And if I look under Gmail, I can look at the same card. And if I look at iCloud, it's going to show me all the information from both cards here. But be careful when using link selected cards because you can't undo it very easily in contacts anymore. Another thing you could do is you could decide to only use one contacts account. This is what I recommend. So you want to get rid, say, of your Google account here. It just has a few old contacts in it, and keep your iCloud account where you've been putting all of your new contacts. So to do that, of course, all you need to do is turn off that account. But before you do that, you want to go in and you want to copy any contacts from this account to iCloud. Now, doing that could create duplicates. So you probably only want to do that if you know that it's not a duplicate. You know it's only here in the Google account. And the way to do that is pretty simple. You just drag the contact. I'll take this one because I know this is only in my Google account, and I will drag it into iCloud. So now I've got that one, and it's shown in all contacts here. It's under iCloud and it is under Google. And notice it's only there the one time. It acts like a linked card. It's in both accounts, but it's linked. However, now that I've copied it and placed it into the iCloud account, I can turn off the Google account. And I'll do that in contact settings this time by going to accounts here, going to the Gmail account, and I will disable the Gmail account. Now I only have iCloud, but yet that contact is still there because I had placed a copy of it in all iCloud. Now, if you do that for a contact you already have, it's going to warn you that there's a duplicate. So if you're not sure if you've got a duplicate or not, usually just dragging and dropping in there will warn you, and then you could decide not to import that one. Now, the same goes for anything on my Mac. On my Mac means it's local only. So if something is here and you've got your iPhone and your Mac syncing over iCloud, well, anything on my Mac is not going to sync. You're not going to see it on your iPhone. So you're going to want to take a contact from on my Mac and then drag it over to iCloud to add it there, and then it will sync to your iPhone. So you really want to avoid using on my Mac if you can. And in fact, if on my Mac is empty, I will simply delete this card here. Then it should disappear completely from the left sidebar. And there's one last thing that you need to do. You need to check this setting in Contacts under General. Look for Default Account, and you'll see all your accounts listed here. Make sure that's set correctly. If you're just sticking with one account, it should just be that one account. But if you still want to view your Gmail contacts here, say, then you want to make sure you've selected the right account for new contacts to be added. This is also where a lot of people go wrong. They've got the wrong one selected here, and they don't know why every time they add a contact on their Mac, which goes to the Gmail account, why it doesn't show up on their iPhone that only is linked to the iCloud account. So the ultimate way to keep your contacts really clean is to use only one account, probably iCloud. Don't store anything on my Mac, and only have that one account enabled on your Mac and your other Apple devices. Hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. Want to know about every new
If you're losing my Zoom controls, questions, comments, or go back one? Okay, go that one. Okay, anyway, questions and comments about that. Contacts can get real messy. I've seen people with really like hundreds or 1,000, 2,000 contacts in there. I don't see how they manage it. Everybody muted. If you want to say something, you can unmute yourself.
Maybe.
Alright.
Can you summarize that a little, John? Like I use Gmail, right? And Mail on my desktop. And besides contacts on your iPhone. So if I pull all those Gmail contacts and put them in iCloud, does that still show in Gmail contacts on my desktop?
No, it's Gmail contacts are meant for you. Like you said, you should choose to use one set of contacts and don't put them in multiple places is the best way to do it. If you're using Gmail and using Apple Mail to read your Gmail, your contacts should be in the Apple contacts. You're just using the Gmail address. You're not, if you're going to the web, and reading your Gmail, that's a different story because you need to have your contacts in Gmail on the web so you can use them.
I haven't gotten duplicates for a while though, so I'm not too worried about it, but just in case that was a good step through. Thanks.
Here's another way of doing it. You can have just one contact list and you can make subfolders to categorize them. You'll still have one contact list, but you can go to a particular folder and it'll have a particular group in it.
Where do you read your mail?
Me, I have Gmail.
No, Gmail means you go to the Google website and read it on the web.
Yeah, right.
How do you read it on your phone?
For email,
How do you read your
I've got the
Gmail on the
Gmail app. Yeah, I've got a Gmail app on my phone,
Okay.
but I rarely do that unless I have, I've occasionally gone into a place where I'll need like a lab code and I'll have it in email, and then it'll show my app.
So the problem with contacts is it has phone numbers for your phone and email addresses for your mail. So if you keep all your contacts in Gmail, then you won't have any contacts on your phone to make phone calls. And then you'll end up adding phone numbers in the Apple contacts for your phone, and you need another contact in Gmail for their email. So it gets,
I don't know. don't know.
it's
Okay.
the best way is don't read your Gmail on the web. Read it in Apple Mail. Use the Apple Mail contacts with a phone number and email in there, and it'll work on your phone, it'll work on your computer, and it'll be all be in sync between your phone and your computer, and it all works as Apple designed it.
Mm.
You can add your Gmail account to the Apple Mail app, and
Yes, you
nothing
can.
will change, but you'll see it all in just the Mail app.
Yeah.
You can do like he
It's
said.
a
if
much
you
better way.
Yeah. Doesn't it show Gmail Cloud I'm looking on the mail. It's got all emails. It's got, whoa, I don't know.
Okay.
And my two Gmail addresses. I don't have cloud, but that's
You
okay.
should, I would suggest you go and watch the video again.
Mhm.
He explains the reasons why all this is and how you do it.
Okay, thanks. Well, I'm not having duplicate problems anymore. So, I mean, maybe occasionally, I don't know, not recently, but I'll check. Thanks. You got something.
I like to add to that. I agree with Sharon because I have multiple email accounts, and believe it or not, I find that going on the web, connecting to the Gmail to my email on the web, it's easier for me to deal with than on Apple all accounts. Now, don't get me wrong, I do it both ways, but at times I directly log on. I have access to filters. I have access to blocking stuff. I have access that I don't have on the Apple site. That's all I
Whatever works for you.
right.
Okay. Good subject.
Okay, anything else? We'll move on. Next one is.
Hi, this is Gary.
Why Windows may open automatically when you launch an app or restart your Mac.
Yeah, I'd like to know that one.
Come on,
Hi, this is
Gary.
Gary with MacMost.com. Are you wondering why when you restart your Mac or when you launch an app, a bunch of windows open? Shouldn't it just start off fresh? Let's take a look. So let's say you go to launch an app like Pages or Safari. And when you do, a bunch of windows open. Why did these windows open? Why didn't it just start off fresh, ask you to open a new document or go to a new web page? The same thing can happen when you restart your Mac or start it up after it's shut down. You may find that a bunch of apps open up with a bunch of windows. So what's going on here? So here I'm going to launch Safari. And when I do, instead of starting off fresh and asking me to go to a page, two web pages already open in two separate windows. And when I go to Pages here, that opens up the app and two windows open for that as well. So what's happened here is that I simply had these windows open when I previously quit these apps. You can see here if I quit Pages with these two windows open and I quit Safari with those two windows open, that those windows will open again when I relaunch those apps. They're simply resuming where they left off. Now there's a setting for this in System Settings and then you go to Desktop and Dock. And you're going to scroll down a bit and you're going to look for, under Windows, close Windows when quitting an application. And if you turn that on, quitting an application using the menu with the app name and choosing quit or simply Command Q will not just quit the app, but also close the windows. In this case, those 2 pages windows. So when I have this turned on here, if I quit Pages and then I relaunch Pages, those windows won't open. I'll just be prompted to open a new document. However, you should know there are other ways to accomplish the same thing. Even if you have this turned off here, you can simply close these windows before quitting the app. So clicking the red button here at the top left corner of this window, and then the one on the top left corner of this window, or choosing File and then Close Window. Command W is the keyboard shortcut usually. There's also a way to close all windows. So you can close the windows to clean up the app so that when you launch it again, it will open with no windows. There's an easier way to do this all at once. If you go to the menu with the app's name, in this case Safari, and you go to Quit, if you hold the Option key down on your keyboard, you'll see it changes to Quit and Close All Windows. Or you could have just used the keyboard shortcut Option Command Q instead of Command Q. And that would close both those windows and quit the app so that when you launch Safari again, it launches with no open windows. Like I'll try it here. And now you could see if I launch Safari, it will bring up a blank window with my start page instead of the ones I previously had open. Now note that if you go into System Settings and change that setting I showed you before, so turn on Close Windows when quitting an application, then when you go to an app, like I'll go back here to Pages and I'll open up those 2 documents again. If I go to the Apps menu here and go down to Quit, if I hold the Option key down now, instead of saying Quit Pages and Close Windows, it does the opposite. It says Quit and Keep Windows. So the Option key will toggle to the opposite behavior of whatever you have in System Settings. So System Settings should be your default preference. And then you can use Option Command Q instead of Command Q to reverse that in a specific case. Okay, so now you know why windows reappear when you launch an app and how to change that as the default or on a case-by-case basis. But what about when you restart your Mac or shut it down and then start it up again? There's a separate setting for that. So of course I can't screen record over a restart, but I don't need to show you the setting. So when I go to the Apple menu here and then choose Restart, I'm given this confirmation dialog. And there's a setting right here, the checkbox for reopen Windows when logging in. So with that checked, you're going to get the same behavior. Matter of fact, it's going to override the other setting. So if you have apps that are currently running, when you restart, those apps will come back and those windows will come back as well. The same thing when you go to shut down, you'll see the checkbox there too. And you'll also get the same thing when you go to log out of a user account. You see the same checkbox. If you find these videos valuable, consider joining the more than 3,000 others that support MacMost through Patreon. You get exclusive content, course discounts, and more. You can read about it at macmost.com/Patreon. Now, if you want to set a default for this, you can. In fact, the checkbox is its own default setting. If you set it, even if you cancel, the setting is remembered. So I just turned it off here. And if I cancel, you'll see next time I go to restart, shut down, or log out, it remembers whether or not it was checked. So just change it to be what you want, and that's the default. But then you can always change it the next time in case you want something different. Now, there are a few catches here. First is, a third-party app doesn't necessarily have to follow this. A third-party app can be designed to start each time without the previous window showing up. So it all depends on what that developer wants to do. But a well-designed one probably should, especially if it's handling documents like a word processor or views like a web browser. Also, the Finder is kind of an odd exception. The Finder is an app, but it doesn't really have a way to quit. You don't quit the Finder, although you can force it to restart. And it appears that Finder windows will always come back. Of course, you wouldn't be quitting Finder while you're working on your Mac, but when you restart or shut down and start again or log out, it seems that Finder windows will come back no matter which way the box is checked. So I hope that explains a little bit about how your Mac works when restarting an app or restarting your Mac and helps you set it like you want. Thanks for watching. Want to know about every new MacMost video each week? Sign up for the absolutely free MacMost email.
Okay, comments, questions? Everybody's muted, so if you want to say something, you got to unmute yourself. Nobody, we'll move on. There's a real short one from Apple. There's a current one, so they must have changed something because they've showed it before.
Want to capture what's on your iPhone screen? We'll show you how. To take a screenshot of what's on your screen on an iPhone with Face ID, press the side button and the volume up button at the same time. You can then edit it or add drawings and text with markup. If you have Apple Intelligence enabled on your supported device, you can tap Ask to ask a question about what's on screen, swipe your finger on a specific item to highlight it and search for it, or tap Search to search the web for similar items. The Close button deletes the screenshot without saving. When you're ready, tap the Done button in the upper right corner and choose to save your screenshot to Photos, Files, or a note. We'll tap Save to Photos. Your screenshot leaves the screen and saves to your chosen app where you can find it later. See it? Snap it. Keep it.
There's my controls. I don't have my control disappeared. Dang it. I don't know. Okay, all right. Keep losing my controls. Questions? I see what they changed. They added the Apple Intelligence thing in there. Because that's new.
Oh,
Jan?
where was that? Well, what I want to ask, what's that? Maybe it's connected. It's got that ask button. What's that for? What do you ask in relation to that?
It uses Apple Intelligence to read the words in your screenshot and then go search the web for what it says. I recently did this. Somebody posted, wasn't even a member, sent us an email off the website with a screenshot of a Microsoft error code related to Adobe, not even an Apple thing. She said she called Apple and they couldn't help her. It's Adobe Microsoft, it's not an Apple problem. So I just took the screenshot she sent, went to Google, put it in the search, used AI mode. It read the words in the screenshot, deciphered the error, and came back with the solution of what to do, step by step, how to fix the problem. It's pretty cool. I think that's what Apple, that will do the same thing, I would imagine.
I noticed they only talked about phones with Face ID.
Yeah, what'd she say? If you have Face ID, yeah, she didn't tell you how to do a screenshot if you don't have a phone with
They
Face
should have
ID.
had that in the video.
Yeah. Yeah. There's also a way to set it up. Gary showed once in settings. I can't remember where it is. I think I set my iPad to do it and I never use it, where you swipe up from the left corner diagonally and it takes a screenshot, which when I tried it, when he showed it in a video, it's very cool, but I always forget to do it. I don't remember exactly where it was, but I'm sure you could ask Google and they would tell you. The AI mode in Google asking tech questions is very good. Okay, I think I got one more one. Any more questions about that?
Still the question I was asking, other than the thing you were talking about, there is a way to take a screenshot on a Touch ID device, but he didn't cover it. Anyone here know what that is?
I don't remember.
You don't, the side buttons won't work?
Ask Google.
I use Face ID and I use the side buttons and it works for me.
He
Takes
wants to know
pictures.
if you don't have Face ID, which they didn't address.
What does Face
sorry.
ID have to do with the side buttons? Nothing.
I used to do it accidentally, but I don't remember how.
Right.
I don't know if it's
Okay.
different. It's different if you have an old phone that has Touch ID, a home button. Taking a screenshot is different, I believe, maybe.
And that's what I was asking.
Oh, yes. I think it was press the home button and the power button.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the equivalent.
Somebody do a quick Google search and give us the answer.
Google says a back tap.
Oh, no, that's only if you set up back tap. That's optional. What's the standard? There's 2-button command on the sides of the phone to do a screenshot on old phones.
Just open the settings, go to
Home and top.
accessibility. Go to accessibility and touch back tap, tap, double tap, or triple tap, choose screenshot.
No, that's not the answer, Ken.
That's
That's
what Google says. I
not
didn't say it.
using. What if your phone doesn't have a back tap feature available? What's
Right.
the standard way to invoke a screenshot from a computer that has a home button that doesn't have a back tap available? That's a newer feature. I believe it's the home button and the power button, right? Somebody say that?
Yes, that's what it is.
Thank
There
you.
you go. Google knows all. Okay. I got one more that's I thought was very good. Okay. This has never been explained on a video that I've seen before. How to get iPhone messages on your Mac and your phone and have them be in sync. This is a pretty short video, but the guy goes really fast. So you may have to watch it again. But there's multiple steps to get this to. Text messages are controlled by your phone. They're sent to your phone. You have to set it up to forward to your other devices. And you also have to set the settings to sync messages through iCloud to get everything to be in sync. So when you delete it somewhere or read it somewhere and it all happens. Okay, so pay attention. He's pretty speedy.
How to get iPhone messages on your Mac computer. So I'll show you how to sync your messages between your phone and also your Mac. Now, first thing you need to do is head over to your iPhone and go and load up your settings. You can click on your profile name at the top of this screen, and you need to make sure that you're signed into the same Apple account on both your Mac and also your iPhone. So you can see at the top here, I'm signed into this Apple account, and I need to make sure that this matches the account that I'm signed into on my Mac. You could then click on iCloud, click on See All. You could then come over to Messages and make sure Use on this iPhone is turned on and enabled. You could then come back over to the main settings page on your iPhone, scroll right down to the bottom and click on Apps. You could then scroll down to Messages and then find the option for Text Message Forwarding and go and click on this. Now from the list of options, make sure your MacBook is turned on and enabled. Once you've done all of this, you can head over to your Mac computer. You'll then need to click on your Apple logo from your Mac and click on System Settings. Now click on your profile name, and like I said, make sure this is the same Apple account that you're signed into on your phone. You could then click on iCloud and go and click on Messages. Make sure Use on this Mac is turned on and enabled, and then go and close out of this window. Go and load up the Messages app from your computer, click on Messages at the top of this page and press Settings. Now click on iMessage and make sure Enable Messages in iCloud is turned on.
You may also need to click on the Sync Now button and make sure where it says you can be reached for messages at, make sure the relevant options are turned on and enabled. Now if it's not working, you can also try signing out of your Apple account, and then you can try manually signing back into your account. Once you've done this, you should be able to sync messages between your iPhone and your iMac.
Okay, did you get all that? This guy goes way too fast.
Haven't we all done that?
I get the messages on the Mac, but they don't sync when I try to get rid of them.
Make sure you follow every one of those
Yeah, I
steps.
think I missed a step.
Yeah,
It's
it's not, none of that is set by default. You got to do all those steps like he said.
Yeah, I think I missed a step when I set it up.
And why? It doesn't make any sense that on the Mac, you set the iCloud message sync thing in the Messages app. Why they don't move it over into iCloud like they do on the phone so it matches, I don't know. So, but that's the way it is. And it doesn't work perfectly. I have it synced to like a dozen devices I switch around on. And sometimes I'll go to one and I haven't used for a while, and then it'll download old messages even though they've been deleted, or there won't be stuff that I sent, and it's not perfect. But if you're only using 2 devices and you don't log out of accounts and log back in like I do, it'll probably work better. But it's a little buggy for me. It always has been. I just got used to it.
John,
Yeah.
I have to disagree with you. One thing is because when you did mine, you did a perfect job. It works for me ideally.
Well, in theory, it should work perfectly. But for me, I probably do too many devices, and I log in and log out of devices all the time. And maybe that's what causes the problem. Once you set it up like he said, I never see anybody explain that one feature like that. But that's what you need to do. And if you do it, it usually works. And it's very handy, it's very nice. Yeah.
I always explain that when I teach an iCloud class.
It's not really documented anywhere. The Apple should explain that. I've never seen them do that. Usually they throw it into some longer video about messaging, and it gets lost, or they don't fully explain the whole process. Those are just exactly the specific things you need to check and turn on. Just those and only those. That's all it all matters. And that's for each device. If you have an iPad, you need to do it. If you have an iPhone, you need to do that. Or if you have a MacBook, you need to do that. And then you have a desktop Mac. So you have 4 devices, you need to do that settings on all 4 devices, and then magic happens.
Yeah, he didn't mention that if you have more than one device, where he showed to check off the Mac, you would also check off your iPad.
Yes, that's true. If you want to see something, that's the last actual.
There's also a corresponding feature with respect to phone. In the phone settings, you can forward to your other devices.
Oh, yeah,
we always
absolutely
receive phone calls on our Macs.
Yeah. I want to show you something real quick. I'll demonstrate. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Not yet.
I stopped sharing. Hold on.
You're not sharing.
I gotta get back to where my controls are. Share. Okay, I'll share you. Can you see my screen now?
No.
Yes.
Okay. This is what he said. First step, go to your user. Go to iCloud. Push see all. Messages in cloud. That needs to be on all your Macs. Okay. Then you need to go to the bottom. I need to get out of iCloud. Go to the bottom. Where's my
the other part is on the phone.
No. There's one more step you got to do here. You got to go to
No, the
apps.
steps are on the phone.
No, there's one more thing you need to do. Oh, you're right. That's
Yeah,
right. The
apps.
forwarding it on the phone. You're correct. The other thing that's on the Mac, which is pretty straightforward, is in the Messages app. Why this isn't in settings is beyond me. It's in the Messages app.
Oh, yeah, right.
Here, you got to have this on. And you got to have your phone number and your email if you want to be reached there. Okay, that's on the Macs. But I'll show, okay, I can't show you my phone because I'm using it as a camera. No, I can't show you the phone. Oh, wait a minute.
No, you can share it.
I can't share my phone because I use it for the camera.
Oh.
Never mind. All right. Stop share. I was going to show you what it looks like on the phone, but I can't do that. But any device you are logged into your Apple account, Macs, iPhones, iPads, that will show up in that forwarding. You can pick which ones to forward it to. He only had one. Okay. Well, that's the end of the presentation or video. Any more questions, or we'll move on to Q&A and I'll stop the recording. Last chance. Okay, we'll stop the recording.